Can I share my screen? Let me share my screen.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So you see in the PowerPoint presentation, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
the household management.
Okay. 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 So I would like to give you an update on household management. Specifically, I would like to talk about how to remove a client from a household when this client is enrolled in a project with other household members. So first, I would like to give you a conceptual example, and then we will see how to do this in HMS. Okay? So let's suppose we have the Simpson household. So in the global household, we have Marge, we have Lisa, Homer, Bart, and Maggie. So they are all in the global household. And they're also enrolled as a group in the Springfield Homeless Shelter. But now let's suppose Marge wants to get a divorce. So she wants to leave Homer, she wants to leave the household, but she wants to still remain enrolled in the Springfield Homeless Shelter. So how do we do this in HMIS? So the first step that we need to do is to remove Marge from the global household. And this is a pretty easy, straightforward part of the process. So once we do this, the second step is to remove Marge from the group enrollment that she has in the Springfield Homeless Shelter. So, and in order to do this, what we need to do is to exit her from the project. So I know this sounds a little bit confusing, but it will make more sense when we go to HMS. So after we remove her, the third and last step is to re-enter her into the same project, into the Springfield Homeless Shelter project as an individual. So that is the only way in which we can remove her enrollment from the group enrollment that she shares with all the Simpsons. Another thing that it's important to understand here, and I want you to remember, is that it is not enough to only remove the client from the global household. We also need to remove the client specifically for all the group enrollments that the client has with the rest of the members. So, for example, in this case, Marge is only enrolled in one project in the Springfield Homeless Shelter, but if she were enrolled in other projects with the Simpsons, we would have to do a step 2 and a step 3 for each one of those projects. Okay? And the reason for that is because any changes that we do in the global household don't have any effect on the project enrollment. So that's why step 2 and step 3 are necessary. So after the separation, the result after the 3 steps is that Marge will be alone in the global household by herself, completely separated from the Simpsons, and she will also be enrolled in the Springfield Homeless Shelter by herself as an individual. Is there any questions so far?
I'm not seeing anything in the chat yet.
Okay, so now let me go and let's see this in HMS. Can you see HMS now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now what I would like to do is to do these 3 steps in HMS so you would see how the process is. Okay, so as we said, the first step was to remove Marge from the global household. So in order to do that, we have to go to the head of household profile screen, which in this case is Homer's. And once we're there, we have to click the Manage button next to household members. So then we have to locate Marge, which is here, and then click the Edit icon next to her name. Okay, so once the Edit Global Household pop-up window appears, we have to select Exit Household, and we have to enter the date in which she's leaving the household. So the date in which she is divorcing Homer, and let's suppose that's today. And then click Save. So now we have officially removed Marge from the global household, and we know that because she doesn't appear here anymore under household members. And you can see here under household history where you can see like the time period that she belonged to the Simpsons house. Okay, so first step, check. So now let's see the enrollment for March. Okay, so let's open March enrollment. Let's go to programs. And let's open the Springfield Homeless Shelter, which is the only enrollment that she has. Okay. And once we're here, we can see that even though we just removed her from the global household, she is still enrolled with all the Simpson family. And we can see that because they are all appearing here under the program group members. This is what in Clarity is known as the program household. And we can also see that this is a group enrollment because we see that the program type is group. Okay, and this is why I told you guys that the fact of removing a client from a global household doesn't have any impact in the enrollment. So this is how I want to show that. So now we need to remove her from these group enrollments. And how do we do this? The way in which we remove her is by exiting her from the project. And we do this as usual. We click the exit tab and make sure just to select March and then end program. And here in the program exit date, we need to enter the date in which she is leaving the household. So as I said, let's suppose that date is today. And also in destination, we should select the project type of this project. So since the Springfield Homeless Shelter is an emergency shelter, we select emergency shelter, and the rest of the questions are answered as usual, and then save and close. Okay, so now that we have exited her, second step, check. The third step is to re-enter her into the same project, but as an individual. So we go to the Programs tab, and then under Programs Available, we select the Springfield Homeless Shelter, which is the same project that we just exited her from, and then we click Enroll. And this enrollment process is as usual. The only thing that that I want to point out here is that the project start date should be the same as the date that she's leaving the house. That is today. And also, the type of residence should be emergency shelter because that's the type of project that we are enrolling her into. And then save and close. And that would be it. So now, if we go to the Programs tab, we can see that March has 2 enrollments for the same project. So the first enrollment reflects the fact that she was enrolled as a group with all the Simpson family and is a group enrollment. Now, the second enrollment, which is the one that we just created, reflects the fact that she divorced the family, that she left the family, and is a group individual enrollment. Another thing that I want to point out here is that the end date of the first enrollment should be the same as the start date of the second enrollment. So this is because we don't want any gaps in her enrollment. So that's how we check that we did things correctly, and that will be it. Is there any questions?
And just to clarify, I know you said that the prior living in the new enrollment should reflect the type of the project type.
Mm-hmm.
But it should also reflect that in the destination also, because she's exiting and re-entering the same project.
Yeah.
It should be.
Yeah.
It was emergency shelter.
Yes. The destination when you're exiting her from the first enrollment. When you're exiting her from the group enrollment, the destination should be also emergency shelter. And also, we're going to send, with the minutes, we're going to send a knowledge-based article with step-by-step guide on the process that I just explained. Actually, it's already posted online. It's already under household management. If you guys want to see it, it's already there.
We got a question on how this will affect the program's performance for exit, since it's not an actual exit, but only administrative.
That's the million-dollar question. That is the reason why we cannot delay this explanation. These don't have any effect on project performance. We already confirmed with HUD, so that's why we're waiting for that confirmation to be sure that this is not going to affect anything.
And the reason for that is on the system performance report, it's looking at the client as a whole. It's not looking at the client's exit and enrollment. So for example, if the client exits and then re-enters on the same day, For the purposes of the system performance report, the client is considered a stayer, and therefore they would not be included on the system performance report for leavers. So that's why this will not negatively impact the system performance report.
That's why these dates need to coincide. I told you that the end date of the first enrollment should be the same as the start date of the second enrollment. It's really important that it's the same so we don't have any gaps precisely. We don't have any problems in the system performance.
We had another question, what will happen if you pull a report with a time period where she's part of the family and a single? And I think that mostly depends on what the report is and what it's looking at, because if it's looking at entry dates, it could only pull the latest one if it's the only one that occurred during that time period. Same thing if it's only looking at exit dates. So we have to know more specifics to be able to answer that question. For PSH, this now has a client who is entering from a non-homeless location. Does that also affect this? So like we said on the system performance report, it does not impact it. On your APRs, if you're a permanent supportive housing project, and also on the project performance reports, on the APR, it'll show up as an entry from permanent supportive housing, which is the same as any other client that you may move from one PSH project to another because the fit is better. And HUD has already said that's okay. You just have to be able to provide an explanation on that, and you should include that in the narrative section of your APR. For the project performance reports, we are including entries from permanent supportive housing projects as neutral entries, so they don't help or hurt your entries from homelessness measure. Okay. Seems like questions have slowed down. Adriana, did you have anything else to add?
No. Just check the knowledge base article once it's sent.
Okay. All right. Casey?